that had any other announcements? There he is. Hey, Colton. No? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go with our program then. Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir.
Great. Thank you very much, President Raymond. Good to see everybody today. And it's a privilege to introduce our speaker today. Timothy Stroud is a former combat medic in the United States Army. He served our country for 4.5 years of active service with deployments to Kosovo, Kuwait, and Iraq in Operation Iraqi Freedom. During these years, Tim learned volumes about team building, leadership, and camaraderie. He also served sought out a mentor during his transition back into civilian life and began a 7-year relationship with an Army veteran and entrepreneur, Paul J. Meyer. As a subject matter expert on transitional services for veterans, Tim frequently speaks on topics such as employment, education, entrepreneurship, and support services. He lives in Houston and continues to champion several causes for veterans and their families through Easter Seals of Greater Houston. Tim has 2 daughters, Amber and Jacqueline, aptly nicknamed the Hurricane and the Tornado. So they keep him grounded and remind him of the value of life. And I know Tim's just a real energetic, enthusiastic guy that's passionate about what he does. And we're just honored to have you here today, Tim. And let's give Tim a warm Space Center Rotary welcome.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate that introduction. And I hate correcting those who introduce me, but it's combat medic. But you'll get there. You'll get there. You're like, what? That wasn't written in there. No, it's a little add on. So Raymond, thank you, and Scott and everyone. And Rotary is no hidden secret to Easter Seals and rolling up their sleeves and getting involved in the community. Special thanks to Patty for putting out some great information and using a $12 word today. That's great. Am I the only one when she said Herculean? I'm thinking Hercules, Hercules. Maybe it was just me. So anyway, Eddie Murphy used to make funny movies. This last one, maybe 2.5 stars. But speaking of stars, you guys are all stars in my book. As I transitioned out of the military, I looked to my left, looked to my right. There wasn't anyone there because I was stop lost in the military. That means that the Army extended my contract when we got our deployment orders to Iraq. I came back. I was the first NCO to exit 4th Infantry Division after our deployment. There wasn't a lot of my comrades to help me take that next step. So I sought out a mentor, Paul J. Meyer, and I connected with several organizations. Paul was adamant. He said I had to join Rotary, the Chamber of Commerce, and Toastmasters. So I did all 3, and I was ignorance on fire. So that meant I was doing all of the fun stuff at Rotary. That means I was setting up, greeting people, and cleaning up. I wanted to get rid of my red badge as quickly as possible. And some of you may be familiar with the Colleen Heights Club. This was back in the heyday when we had 190 people every Friday morning at 7 a.m. When that bell was rung, if you weren't in your seat or near it, that's a $5 fine. And we raised a lot of money each week. I had a blast learning about the community and the things that were going on behind the scenes. It's kind of like the post office. You put a stamp on a letter these days, you can mail it to 5 pages, and it gets from Houston to Humble in a day. And I also learned how to pronounce Humble correctly when I got here. And you're like, well, how did it get there? Well, it's got to go through a lot of different processes to do that. And having past district governors like Bill Palco and Bob Gephardt to help found our club, we get to do a lot of stuff. And one of those organizations we reach out with is Easter Seals. This group is no slouch when it comes to connecting with organizations in the community. And you guys did just that. I don't know if we did a recap, Scott, or not, from Operation Turkey, but that was one of the pinnacle things that we did with the Greater Area Houston Veterans Club and Easter Seals on Thanksgiving. A week prior to Thanksgiving, the organization we were working with, they was like, nah, we're just not gonna do it. COVID and stuff. And basically they just got lazy. but we had already promised 8,000 people, a lot of them Easter Seals clients, and reaching out to tons of veteran service organization and other community partners because we stop, collaborate, and listen. That's right. Vanilla Ice would be very proud of us. And we wanted to make sure that we're doing the right thing, service above self. So we raised money thanks to Rotary, $18,000, 700 and some change, to feed 7,970 Houstonians. And we delivered the meals. What we're delivering now is hope. Through the rest of the year in 12 different programs, we meet our families where they're at. We're here today to talk about the Veterans Program because just as I transitioned out of the military, we have brave men and women, some young at heart, that look to take that step into the civilian culture. They're not exactly right there, and it's not their fault entirely. I mean, we go through, how many military veterans do we have in the room? Raise your hands. I know who I'm talking with. Hey, we got some few out there. Family members? Excellent. I'm going to assume the rest of you are patriots, that you love supporting the men and women who have served. There we go. 2 thumbs fresh. And I love that about our country. You don't have to serve. Fewer than 1% of our population currently serves in the military, so it's up to us to support them. I'm going to pause here because it's guys and gals like Bill Palco and Bob Gephardt, and I mention them because they're both Vietnam veterans, because they got neither the hero send-off nor the welcome home that they deserve. Because of them, they started the organizations that have now expanded the globe. One of our counterparts, we've got a great colonel who wrote The Sea of Goodwill, a great friend of ours, mine and Kelly's, through Easter Seals. And he wrote this article, this op-ed piece, and he talks about the 40,000 plus organizations. And you have a benefit right across the street, but if you don't know it's there, you're going to drive right by it. One of those, Easter Seals. A lot of people, in fact, on a few different Rotary calls, they said, oh, is that organization still around? I'm sure Rotary gets that from time to time. When you click that centennial mark, just like Easter Seals has, people may forget about you if you're not right up in their face. So today, I'm going to get right there, and we're going to talk about the Walk With Me event. Every year around this time, we host an event for the last 10 years to make sure that families know that there are benefits waiting for them. Sometimes it's reaching out with mental health programs for our veterans and their family members. I mentioned that because not everybody qualifies for VA care. Veterans Administration, it's a hospital. We have 5,600 employees at the facility in Houston. I love it. That's where I get my care. But that's not where some of our veterans and family members get their care. If the veteran qualifies, their spouse, their kids, their grandfather, however they relate to family, and their definition is, they may not qualify. That's where we fill in the gaps. Through one of our grants, the Texas Veteran and Family Alliance, TVFA, and our partnership with the state of Texas through HHSC, we make sure we have those unmet needs met. So we connect with them, sometimes in person, sometimes through video, and sometimes through hybrid events. We always use the no wrong door approach. That means if somebody comes to us for one of our financial classes, how to buy a car, how to use their VA benefits, or our service dog program, and they need something else that we don't provide, but one of our partners does, we would be very myopic in our vision if we simply didn't make that warm introduction to them and make sure that we're monitoring them. So we do case monitoring for up to a year for our veterans and their family members. And Kelly's going to tell us a little bit more about the Walk With Me event and how much your support is needed in 2021 as we do a hybrid model. Please let me introduce the talented and lovely Kelly Klein.
Thank you for the introduction, Tim. I'm Kelly Klein. I'm the development director at Easter Seals Greater Houston. I have been there about 25 years, and we just got into veteran services in 2011. We've been around for almost 75 years, and we have 13 programs that offer for people with any type of disability, children and adults, and their families, as well as veterans. And to be able to do that at low or no cost to our clients, we have our Walk With Me event, which Tim said, which is April 24th. And this year you can participate virtually because we all completely went virtual last year, or we can do a hybrid. So you can either be at the zoo on April 24th, or you can walk your block however you want to. So 91 cents of every dollar goes straight to programming. And we need the support of the community to be able to continue to support our community. We appreciate y'all having us here.
I don't know when the last time that everybody on this call went to the Houston Zoo. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. Don't hold it against me. The Army was nice enough to drop me off in Texas. I like the area. I love the people. So I stayed. But in St. Louis, the zoo is free. I mean, FREE, no payment. All you have to do is park your car, your bike, or your skates at Forest Park, and you can get into the zoo for free. Well, we're hosting it, and we want you to sponsor some veterans and family members so they can come down there. They'll get a t-shirt, they'll get all kinds of stuff, and we're doing it in waves. I do believe we get 1,000 people in at 2 different time periods. Is that correct, Kelly? Yep, she's nodding north to south. I like that one. That's affirmative. And what we're going to do, and we're going to wait for Colton to bark. 1 second. Nope, that was Alexa. Let me know there's somebody at the door. That's good old Amazon delivering as needed. Holy smokes, they need to run all of our COVID shots, don't they, between them and Chick-fil-A? So with that, we want to make sure that all of our family members know they can come down. This is lottie-dottie, everybody. The great news about this, families that normally would have had somebody that has a mobility challenge, doesn't matter if they're in a wheelchair, they use a walker, or they have a learning disability, or they have a sensory disability. One of our female Army veterans, she works at Easter Seals and she runs the Bridging Apps program. Her son, Vincent, has sensory programs. It's overload. Imagine my energy, and every time that he hears something, that's what he feels. And it's overwhelming. So he'll wear different dampeners and stuff, but it doesn't mean that he shouldn't enjoy the sights, the sounds, and the smells like everybody else at the Houston Zoo, including the experience of spending that with family and friends. We also take this time to introduce some of the programs that our clients and the community may not know of, and of course, our partners as we're down at the Houston Zoo. The reason I love it so much is that I don't care if you're 5 or 105, that little kid comes out when you get to the zoo and it's like, oh man, it's so refreshing. And we want to get people moving again. I know Governor Abbott has some great news for everybody on Wednesday. And there are, I don't know how many people are on this. There's 39 people on this Zoom. There's probably 52 different opinions about when and where we should mask. I'm not going to get into that. But I do know as Americans, we need to get moving again. And this is one of the things that we can do. If I can share my screen, I'm going to touch base on what Kelly was talking about. And I'm going to show you. This is the website and where you can go to and you get more information. Nope, you can't see it, Kelly? Or can you see it? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. So you're seeing that and our fancy schmancy stuff that comes through, and also talks about how we're good stewards of the Mackenzie Scott Grant, our information on COVID, but also our programs. And if you go to Walk With Me, which I'll put the information in there and tell you about how the support is best needed from the Rotary groups. As people sign up, and again, you can sponsor different groups. I also sponsor veterans so they can come out to make sure that they know that finances, that should not be their hurdle to participate with us on everything. And you can track everything that's going on. The great thing about it, our team has put these trackers in here. My goal is to put in 5,000 minutes and make sure that I'm out there moving and grooving, just like everybody else. Our team has set a goal. I've got 9 days since I've been tracking, go, go, go. And you can see a lot of time has been spent with Colton. You can share that with others. You can do all kinds of fun stuff that's out there. The reason I like that, everybody likes a good challenge and to be a little bit competitive. So if that's with your group, you can do that with others. Speaking of which, Bill Palco has already put it out there. He said North Shore Rotary is going to donate $2,500, and he issued that as a challenge. You guys can donate collectively as a group, or you can go to the link that I will put in the chat and send to Mr. Scott or one of the other people. I don't know if that's going to go to Mr. Rainey or whoever. I'll make sure it gets to the right people. And you can sign up as an individual. You'll simply join the Trailblazer team, and you can put the money there, or you can challenge other people to get out and be active. One of the things I love about that, since it's a hybrid event this year, doesn't have to be everybody at the Houston Zoo. I've got some of my family members and friends in 11 different states, and my daughters who are currently in Germany going to be walking with us, and we'll get people from around the world, some of the military, some veterans, and some just supporters that join us from around the world to make sure they're participating and uplifting those in the process. And with that, I'll defer to Kelly for any other points that I may have missed, and then we'll open it up to any questions that the group may have. Kelly, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I don't think that there's anything to add. I mean, I'm happy to answer about all of our programs and any other information about walk. I think you've covered it all.
And for those of you that have family members or in the military that are like, oh, I didn't know Easter Seals had that program, have them connect with me. I'll also leave my email in the chat over there. We'd love the opportunity to make sure they're getting all their benefits. And we start at the VA to make sure that they're getting any government benefits that they're supposed to get. And we don't write those, but we connect them with the right organizations that can help advocate for them. And we've helped out hundreds of people over the last few years connect with those and get the resources, not just from the VA, but also when stuff happens. I mean, hurricanes and freezing cold and all the stuff in between. We got to make sure that our veterans are getting their needs met. And I got to tell you, it just warms my heart and to see so many people rolling up their sleeves with service above self. Any questions today? You guys are playing 1, 2, 3, quiet mouse.
Yeah, I've got a question. That was a great presentation. I did a 5K the first time in over a year that I do a lot of trail runs and races, but I went to one this Saturday, and for people who are reluctant, they really are very mindful of your safety, and they did the same thing you're talking about. If you actually do want to go to the walk in April, they're very conscientious about wearing a mask and sending people out in waves, and no gathering of people unless they're family members that are close. So it's a great undertaking, and best wishes to you. And again, what was the date? I missed that.
It's April 24th, Saturday, April 24th.
And thank you, Patty, for that question and let us know about the 5K. I love the 5Ks. I've never done a marathon. I passed out water because I would pass out if I did a marathon. But also, if you are a cyclist, if you do skateboarding, if you love to jump on your pogo stick or fight with Alexa when she's already turned off and still making announcements. Any of the fun things that you're doing outside or swimming, just being active. We would love for you to log your hours and join us. That way, it may encourage somebody else to go out there. Like, I'm not a big fan of people posting a lot of videos and selfies and stuff in the gym, but I talked to a friend of mine, and he's a double amputee. His name's JP Lane, and he's traveling the country right now as a disabled veteran, encouraging others to get active again. And I don't know if you've met him or not, but he was our first speaker at our Rotary Club. Great friend of mine, and I can't wait till he comes back to Houston because he's a singer, actor, motivational speaker, and all around great guy. Are there any other questions?
We actually had JP as a special program at our club last year, or maybe the year before. I can't remember which year it was. It was last year.
It was last year. Yep.
And as a matter of fact, our current sergeant at arms attended that meeting. And because he was so impressed with what we were doing, that's Mike Hugler. Isn't that the reason that you joined Rotary? So you know, JP Lane has been a great friend of the district, to our club. So he supported our golf tournament several times, been out here. So we're very fortunate and blessed to have a good relationship with JP.
Absolutely. You know, and I'll take a quick sidebar on that one, Scott. If you want to talk, everybody knows the angry veteran, and you get both of your legs blown off, break your arm, and lose the tip of your middle finger and your forefront teeth, you might be a little angry. Not JP. You guys have met him. He is one of the most giving, most jovial, and great servant leaders I've ever met. And we're trying to entice him to join our Rotary Club. He's just so busy with his travels. I go, we're virtual, come on in. So if you talk to him, say, hey, join that Veterans Club. Goose me.
Hey, Tim, can you make a comment on the mental health of veterans and the overall, what kind of help are they getting mentally? I know the VA, most of it's a lot medical, but what about the mental health aspect of it?
That's a great question. And thank you for that lead in, Raymond. So you got my notes, like, ask me this question. I'm not a doctor, but I did play one in the Army. Doc Stroud, I was like I said, a combat medic. And I learned in my 4.5 years, there's learned knowledge, there's activity knowledge. If you tell a veteran to call a 1-800 crisis line, probably not gonna call that line. But guess what? We'll do a buddy check. We'll check on other people, but we do need to talk to somebody professional. That's why Easter Seals of Greater Houston has 3 psychologists. We may have hired more that I don't know about, but we also have LCSWs, licensed clinical social workers. These are guys and gals that are trained to talk to people about what their hurdles are in life and how they can get past them, set amazing goals, connect with others, either one-on-one or in group settings to make sure it's getting done. We do that, again, no charge. And we do it in a confidential manner to make sure we are meeting the veteran where they are, meeting the needs of all the HIPAA compliances that are out there. Equally important, connecting them to those resources. Because if you've got mental health issues, let's face it, who doesn't get stressed or have something that gets to them from time to time? There's going to be something behind that. Well, is it a financial matter? Is it something with their family? Is it housing? Has there been a bill that's risen up and bit them right there on the buttocks? Or is it something where they just need to get out moving again? We have so many different programs. We've got a scuba program we've partnered up with that helps out the veteran, as long as it's combat related. Even a 0 rating combat it is approved. They can take a dive buddy, a non-veteran. They get scuba certified. They can go swimming. They can go on cruises. They can go on trips. And like JP Lane and his wife, Crystal, another program that grants free houses to veterans. We want to take the stress off them and make sure they can focus. And one of the things that we've found is that if they get active and they help out others, Rotary, they find out healing in that process. They may say, oh, equine assisted therapy is not for me. I don't need a service dog. By the way, I don't know how many people have an extra $40,000 sitting around to get a well-trained service dog, but we provide them at no charge to the veteran where it will bless their life. Absolutely, there's got to be there will be a list because there are check marks that we have to go through. Some people want that service dog. They're just not ready yet. So we get them there, or we train them virtually with our emotional support animals through our partner with My Service Dog and Allie Keaton. Did that answer your question, Raymond? Because we do also partner up with the VA and make sure that we get the resources there and plug in with other groups like Mental Health America, our programs in the judicial system, which are our jail diversion programs. And we even go into Harris County and we teach classes, making sure our veterans, as they transition out of the Stars and Stripes program and other programs, that they're on the right path again. I think one of the worst things we can do is take our veterans and ones that have gotten off the path and we try to push them as like, we're good. No, let's embrace them. We've all made mistakes. Obviously, we put some healthy boundaries out there, but we make sure that they're getting connected, they're on a healthy path, and they're looking out for their buddies.
Yep, that answers it. Thank you, Tim.
All right.
Tim, could you speak specifically? Now you have a service animal, Colton.
I do.
Tell us why and how to kind of your story with your service animal. If you guys haven't seen Colton, I was at their meeting the other day. I kept trying to take a selfie with him. He would turn away. He didn't like me as much as he likes Tim.
Well, he's been trained really well. He loves beautiful women, and as nice as you are, Scott, you just you don't identify as a woman. Thank goodness. I would be one unattractive woman. Not to say that you're a good-looking man. I mean, but anyway, there was a question here. Let's answer about the service dog. Colton was not originally planned to be my dog. He was actually for a dual service family, both Air Force veterans, and it was for their daughter. But sadly, over the course of 2.5 years, she got to a point she was bedridden, no longer needed a service dog. So I came into the picture, picked up Colton, got him cleaned up, retrained through Easter Seals partner, my service dog, and we went to train a lot of the community partners. Some of the big box stores, some of the restaurants, the airlines, they absolutely love Colton. We go in, we train them on the legalities and the social and moral implications of having a service dog or having a bald guy walk in with a dog. What do you do? And we have a full program. It takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. And we walk through all of those things, making sure that they are legally compliant with what's going on. Because in 1990, the Americans with Disability Act came in. You could have a service dog that's on the ground. But if you're up in the air, you have to have the Air Carriers Access Act that allows certain animals. Now, currently, there's only dogs and Shetland ponies that are allowed. I don't know why ponies is on the list, but they are. I wouldn't want to sit next to that one on a long flight or even a short one. And but what we do is we make sure as we walk through, we connect veterans with their service dogs. Sometimes we're able to train their dog that is currently in their home that already is getting a lot of love, just giving them that course correction to help out. Colton is trained for mobility and for support. When I talk about mobility, if I'm talking to Scott and I drop my phone, which happens quite often, my keys, my wallet, remote, Colton will gingerly go over, pick up the item. He will even go into the refrigerator, pick up a water, has to be a crushable bottle so he can gingerly get it, bring it to me, and then close the refrigerator. He can take off shoes and socks and do all sorts of things and help dress the veterans that need that additional service. He's also been trained on a mental health, Raymond, to do what's called a compression lean. He'll sit right there on your feet and lean back, and let you know that he's there for you. And he's got a lot of character, and our dogs do. Typically, we do 2 service dogs per year, and that's one of our goals. We want to raise $40,000. Now, we don't have to pay 40. We do 20 because we get a special rate since we're a charity. We want to raise enough money where we can put 2 additional service dogs into the greater Houston community. It would be great because I would love to see the money come in from the Rotary groups. Maybe we could choose a name that is indicative of Rotary. I was thinking about Paul Harris, but I don't know if we want to name a dog Paul or Harris, but we could figure out something fun. That way we could name the dog, and every time the dog would go out, we could know that that was the dog that Rotary helped bring. And it's amazing. It's like your anxiety may be here, whether you're flying or you're giving a speech or just going back out in public. If you got post-traumatic stress or a TBI, you may need that support. We've seen it when people get on right before they get on planes and their anxiety level is an 8 or a 9. Just being around Colton, your anxiety will drop to a 2 or a 3. There's just something magical about being around a well-trained, loving dog. Harry, that's a good name, Michelle. That sounds great. And I know we're getting close to time. In closing, any other questions?
Yeah, tell us a little bit of how you actually got recruited into the Army and what that process looked like for you.
Well, I lost a bet and I shaved my head. I was a late bloomer, Raymond. My dad and my grandfather both served in the military, and my father was a police officer. And sadly, when I was 5 years old, he was killed in a line of duty. And I remember they had to lift me up so I could look down into his casket and say goodbye. My mom went through a lot of issues because she loved my dad, and she promised and she harped on it day and night. Don't go into the military. Don't be a police officer. So when she passed, when I was 23, my path went a little askew. She had battled with cancer, and she died from a brain aneurysm, and that just affected me, and I kind of drifted for a while. I don't know any of you guys and gals that have not been on the right path. I was not the guy you wanted to know when I was at that time. So a late bloomer at 27, I needed direction and discipline. Let me tell you, the drill sergeants at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, they were happy to give it to a smart aleck like me. They called me Mr. Push-Ups. Believe it or not, Raymond, when I went into the military, I could not do 10 push-ups. But by the end of basic training, I could knock out over 100 push-ups in 2 minutes. It was great for my age range, and it kept me young at heart, and I got to meet some friends lifelong. It was absolutely the best thing for me, and I don't know if I ever would have done it if my path would have stayed where I've been a country boy in Missouri. But because of the military, I've traveled to 35 different countries and 35 different states. I'm looking to add more and travel with Rotary and Toastmasters and represent Easter Seals and continue to help those who transition out.
That's fantastic. I can't think of anybody with more energy that is a great representation of Rotary. And thank you so much for being with us today, Tim.
Thank you, guys. And I want to give a shout out to our CEO. You don't see her a whole lot. She may pop on the news from time to time. And she is another true servant leader. She lifts up others. She likes to hide in the wings of the theater and make sure that the spotlight gets shined on others. So if you ever see Elise Hoff out in the community, make sure you give her a big old hug, because she rolls up her sleeves and she gets active in the community and does more than most people know. Thank you again to the Rotary Club for welcoming us with open arms. I'm gonna put the link as promised in the chat box over there. And if you want to individually join us, please do. Love to see you. Send us a little note. And as a Rotary Club, if you want to support us, we would absolutely love it. Bottom line, please join the walk with me. We'd love to see you catalog your miles, your swimming exercises, yoga, everything you're doing to stay fit.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. You and Kelly, thank you for joining us today. Well, with that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and conclude our meeting. Y'all have a great week.
Hey, Raymond,
Yes, sir. Yes.
I have a little